Support for How in the Hell Did I Get Here comes from the Coloring Book Coach. Did you know it's possible to heal your heart and more through coloring and the support of the Coloring Book Coach? Visit thecoloringbookcoach.com for your free coloring book. One of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast is because I love stories. Obviously, I love telling them and I love listening to them. And when I was figuring out how to format the show, should it be just me telling the stories to just you, meaning no co-host or on-air listeners, or should it be me telling my stories to someone else who maybe also shares some stories? Either way, I had a lot of trouble figuring out just the right someone or someones to be with me on this podcast. That all changed when I was back home in Stewartville, Minnesota for Aaron and Van's wedding a couple of years ago. After hanging out with my sisters for a few days, I realized that my love of stories and the ability to tell them comes from the people around me. My sisters, as you know if you've been listening, are not only effing funny, as we like to say, although we don't say effing, but I'm trying to keep it clean before I give the swear words warning. Anyway, my sisters are funny and also awesome storytellers. It was obvious that they were the people I needed with me for this show. So today's show features Sister Jenny, or as you may have heard us refer to her as Don't F with the Jenny. Again, I'm keeping it clean. She has stories that span from grade school to adulthood and include everything from getting giggly in college with Skye, a case of ironic revenge, the shame she experienced with a piece of cheese, and scaring the crap out of our parents. This is Kim A. Floden, and you're listening to How in the Hell Did I Get Here? As usual, this episode includes swear words. Stay with us, people. This story reminded me of something myself and my sisters are sort of famous for, which is being inappropriate at the worst times and in the worst places. Listen in as Jenny and Skye reminisce about a college class they shared and why no sisters should be allowed to sit together at any place that we're supposed to behave. No.
That was the funniest day in school I ever had.
What happened?
That was you and Skye, right?
Me and Skye were in a college class together.
Organic chemistry. Mm-hmm.
No, it was environmental science. This
Oh,
one was
okay.
environmental science. And
Another class we were failing together. Yeah.
Yeah. But we managed to pass. And we had a guest speaker come in that day, and it came up on stage.
Yeah.
It was introduced as a woman, and it kept talking, and Skye and I were taking our notes. And then, we were just looking at the speaker, taking notes, and then Skye, without looking at me, just slid her notebook over to me, and it said, "She looked like Bobby Brady." Because she did, if it was a she.
If it was a she.
And then it was that thing where you can't laugh, so you're just like, your shoulders are shaking.
Yes,
And the more you try not to.
Right, tears are running down our face. Oh, yeah, that was a good day.
God.
Clearly, it wouldn't have been as funny this many years later if I'd said she looks like,
Right.
but she
It was the fact
like
that you wrote,
Bobby
she looked
Brady.
like Bobby
She
Brady.
looked like...
Did you guys
Oh my
make
God.
it through the rest of the class?
We didn't get kicked out, but I'm pretty sure we didn't learn anything either.
Yeah.
This next story proves that you don't want to fuck with Jenny because she will get even if it's years later and happens sort of accidentally. I'll let Jenny explain just how that works.
It's too bad Aaron's not on this call for this one because Aaron and I and Carol, my friend Carol, were in probably 5th grade. So we're like 10, 11 years old. We were going trick-or-treating together, and we had gone all over town, and we wanted to go just like one more street. So we're going down the street by the old public library, and we heard these kids run up from behind us, and one of them grabbed Aaron's bag out of her hand, and it was the kind of plastic bag with the hard plastic handles, and it like ripped the skin off her fingers, like kind of cut her fingers open. And so
Ow!
it was girls. It wasn't boys. It was girls.
Bitches.
And, Yeah, exactly. And we,
Bitches
you
get
know,
stitches.
bitches get stitches. Yeah, I think it's snitches get stitches. But anyway,
Well, we're
nobody
changing
snitched.
it.
Yeah. In this story, we knew who they were because it's a freaking small town. So you, even costumes or not, you could tell their voices. Even before we figured that out, Carol, you guys, well, Skye, you kind of knew Carol. She
Yeah.
took off after them, screaming, like cussing, like, I mean, she sounded like she was going to kill him and swearing in 6 different languages, you know? And she tackled him down and she got Aaron's bag back. And then, you know, Aaron got her candy back.
Oh my
And
God. That's hilarious.
so, right. And so we were talking about it after the fact. You know, we all got back home. And so later, maybe the next day or whatever, Carol and I were talking about, because we knew exactly who it was. It was these girls that were 1 year older than us. And they were like these kind of butch jock kind of girls.
Mhm.
So we already, you know, we were too little to not be friends with them or anything. We didn't even really know them very well. But that never left either her mind nor my mind. So years go by, you know, now we're in junior high and the division is becoming clear between, you know, these girls and me and my friends. And now fast forward to I'm a junior in high school and it's homecoming week. For homecoming week, you know, they have different things for each night or each day of the week, like different ways to celebrate homecoming week. And Thursday night was what they called powder puff football. So that
Oh
night was,
no.
yeah, it was a game out on the football field between the senior girls and the junior girls, flag football. And so we're all out there, we're lined up. The game's going on, we're getting beat. And at one point, I'm on defense and a pass goes across and this girl goes running, this butch jock girl goes running to catch the football. And I could see that as I'm kind of cutting across the field towards her, I can see that I can get her flags. So I dove and tried to just rip her flags off of her. But in fact, what happened was I wiped her out. I like completely smeared her to the ground.
Oh my, like a full on tackle.
Yeah, I full on tackled her, which I
Oh
didn't
my
even mean to
God.
do, but it was so satisfying. And only to realize it was that girl that had stolen the candy from Aaron. And I got totally ejected from the game from, you know, for unsportsmanlike conduct. But I didn't care. I left the game with a big smile on my face. And I was talking to this guy I had a huge crush on at a different time. And he told me it looked like I flew through the air like Superman. And it was
just like when you saved the cats from being shot.
Yeah, that's your thing, Jenny.
Those may be the only 2 superhero stories I have. But yeah, that's really it. It was like forever entwined. Those
So
2 stories
karma.
are one story to me. Exactly.
Jenny's just getting started. Stay with us through the break for more. Hey, this is Kim, also known as the Coloring Book Coach. I just wanted to pop in here and say I hope you're doing well. And also, there are some great free coloring pages for you at thecoloringbookcoach.com. And I'm here for you if you need someone to talk to. Right now, I'm offering 20-minute intuitive sessions for just $40. I have the ability to tune into you and your life and provide quick assessment and advice for whatever might be going on. Here's a testimony from a recent client who says, Kim's reading was extremely informative and on target. She knew very specific information about my situation and has provided me with clear direction about next steps to take. She was extremely professional, empathetic, and kind. I highly recommend Kim. She truly has a gift with energy. So if you're interested in giving this a try, reach out to me at thecoloringbookcoach@gmail.com and let's talk. That's thecoloringbookcoach@gmail.com. And now, back to Jenny's stories. You know something's not right when you're literally hiding the cheese, as Jenny does in this story. But she has a good reason. Listen to find out what that is. Also, the male voice you hear at the end of this story comes from my boyfriend Kevin, who was recording with us when Jenny told us the story. There's some great stories coming from him soon. But in the meantime, here's Jenny with her story.
To the best of my recollection, I will try to tell the story. And this was when I was still working evening shifts. I worked half-time, so I worked 2 10-hour shifts. And I typically did not take food with me to work. I would either just go get a candy bar halfway through the night, or I didn't eat till I got back home. And one night in particular, I had taken my lunch break to go to Walmart because it was the only thing open that late and get groceries, and it was winter. So I knew everything would be fine in the, in the cold in the car. And I got my groceries and then I went back to work, finished my shift, and I was super, I was super hungry on my way home. And I remember it was like my stomach was trying to eat itself, that kind of hungry, we're like, I got to relieve this right now. So I reach into the back seat and I'm just like, I'm like digging in the bags, like, what can I find? What can I find? And I come up with a brick of cheese and I'm like, thank God, nothing could be better. So I gnaw it open and I'm just driving home, listening to the radio, nibbling on the cheese the whole way, which is like, 30-minute drive.
Nibbling?
Nibbling.
Like a mouse.
Yeah, it was just gently
Delicate
nibbling.
little bites.
Yeah, tiny little smidgen bites. And then I get home and Bill and the kids are still up and I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, so I look over at the cheese, which is still in my hand, and I'm like, oh God, it looks like some ravenous animal has been after this brick of cheese. And I was so embarrassed. And we had already been married, like, I don't know, 5, 7, 8 years by that point. But I'm like, I can't let him see that I did this. I was so embarrassed. So I had to sneak the cheese. I had to sneak the cheese into the house and I like stuck it down like with the soup because I had to hide it. Like I couldn't just put it in plain sight in the fridge. So I put it down by the soup and then, I put the rest of the groceries away. Everybody got to bed. And then I had to come back down and like cut the gnawed edges off of the cheese and finish eating that. And then like put it back in the fridge like it was a perfectly normal brick of cheese. That's my cheese story.
Well, to your defense, cheese is delicious.
It is. Even
Cheese is the
frozen
best.
cheese. And it was frozen cheese that I was eating.
Oh, I didn't hear the frozen part.
The best
Yeah,
part
it
of the
was
story, though,
frozen.
is that you thought that you had to sneak
The shame.
down under cover of darkness
Right.
to make the cheese look like you hadn't been gnawing
Right.
on it.
I had to trim off the gnawed edges.
In this story, Jenny's in high school, and she and her friends take the fan bus to an out-of-town football game, where things get interesting fast. Thinking back, I'm not even sure how our parents survived raising 7 kids. We for sure put them through their paces more than once. Here's Jenny with her story.
Yeah, I had a bad trip to lacrosse, and then we talked about it last night. Lacrosse is not a good place to go when you're underage and expected home that night.
Oh, Jesus, Jenny.
No.
Do tell.
So we went to Winona for a football game against whatever school we played in Winona, the Catholic school. Missy was kind of dating a senior. We were in 10th grade, I think, and his best friend was in college already at lacrosse. So we decided Tom drove us over to his dorm room and we were just drinking over there. We were drinking to begin with. And not much time went by, we didn't think. We weren't like out of control drunk or anything. And we realized, we better get back to the game. So they drove us back to the game. We got there and the lights were all off. Game was long over. Fan bus was gone. So we're like, shit. And I was kind of like making up with and Missy and Tom were together. So we're driving back. Missy's in the front seat with Tom. I'm in the back seat with and we get back to Stewartville. They didn't want to drop us off at our houses, but there was nobody still at the high school. So they dropped me off at the street between mom and dad's house and the high school. And I walked home. And I think Missy came with me because she was supposed to be spending the night that night. God, how did this go? So mom and dad were outside pacing, like cops had been called. They had searched under the bleachers for our bodies.
Holy shit.
Oh my
Like all of that.
Oh
yeah,
my
all of
God,
this. They thought
Jenny.
I'd
So
been-
you were
yeah.
official missing persons.
Yeah, for like an hour. So we got back home and we promised we would never tell who drove us. We never told any of that. And we said that we had gotten sick from something and we
Bad
walked
hot
up.
dogs.
We had, that was
Oh
the
my
bad hot
God.
dogs. We'd eaten concession stand hot dogs and we got really sick. So we walked to the convenience store a few blocks off of where the high school was and tried to get, like 7-Up or whatever would make us feel better. And they didn't believe us.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't believe us, but I remember the last thing I said was, well, that's what happened. And if you don't believe it, I don't know what else to say to you. And so everybody had to go home. Somebody named Carrie was with us too. And everybody had to go home. Everybody's parents came and relievedly picked up their live-bodied children. And then nothing was ever said about it again.
That's cool.
I chose to stick to my story. They chose to not believe me and moved on.
Yeah. It's an impasse.
We were at an impasse, yeah.
Be sure to check out thecoloringbookcoach.com for your free coloring book. Plus, there's a pack of free coloring pages designed for right now. Color and stay calm with these special pages encoded with powerful healing and phrases designed to support you through COVID-19. Meet you back here next week for more How in the Hell Did I Get Here stories. Until then, pay attention, my friends. You just never know when you might find yourself saying,
Oh God, it looks like some ravenous animal has been after this brick of cheese. And I was so embarrassed.
How in the hell did I get here? Hey, can you do us a favor? Please tell your friends about the show. There's some really good reasons for doing that. First of all, who doesn't need a laugh about now? And laughter is healing. Plus, it helps us get the show out there, and that's really important. If you really love us and want to show us, we appreciate any financial support you can offer. This podcast requires a lot of work to put together, and we love doing it, and we want to keep doing it for a long time. So please, if you can help us out, it's easy to do it at buymeacoffee.com/thecoloringbookcoach. Big thanks to Silent Partner for our theme song, 7th Floor Tango, and our ad music, Blue Skies. We found them on YouTube's Creator Library. Find their links in our show notes. How in the Hell Did I Get Here is a production of The Coloring Book Coach and is written, produced, and hosted by myself, Kim A. Floden, with editing direction from Carrie Floden.